Hi Mayur. I'm here with Mayur Bharath, Director Strategy and Planning GBS for HP. It's a pleasure to have this time to talk with you, Mayur, and I was very interested in the presentation you've just given, focusing on true business transformation and how you turn rhetoric into reality. Something I took from your presentation was your focus on achieving business transformation in the truest sense of the word. So I'd like to ask you a couple of questions along that key theme.
Thanks, Jackie.
So first of all, what are the areas that shared services organizations should invest in or focus on in the next 5 years, in your opinion?
Yeah, great question, Jackie. So I think a couple of areas that shared service organizations should invest in and are probably a little bit underinvested as of today. The first is in the area of risk management. I truly believe that shared service organizations, as they've built a lot of people in the area of process capability and operations, an area they've underinvested is in the area of risk. And when I talk about risk, I think there are a couple of areas within risk management. One is business continuity and planning, right? So most shared services organizations don't have a location strategy today, and locations can be hit by natural disasters such as an earthquake, a tsunami, a fire. You also have terrorist attacks these days, so it's very important that you start planning your business and business continuity, so that if one center goes down, another center is up and running to really back up your day-to-day business. The second area where I feel in the area of risk is in the area of information security and data privacy. As we take more and more work offshore into offshore locations, I believe information security and data privacy will be key. So the first area that I would recommend that shared service companies start paying attention to is in the area of risk management. The second area I believe where companies are still underinvested today is in the area of knowledge management. I truly believe that with attrition rates being what they are in most emerging markets, shared service companies today don't have a holistic strategy towards how they retain knowledge within companies. There isn't best-in-class tools today, or there are very few best-in-class tools today from a knowledge management perspective. So the second area I would say that shared service companies should invest in is in the area of knowledge management. And the third area I think companies should start investing in is technology. I believe with the downturn in the technology industry over the last several years, that technology has been underinvested with the focus on business process and business process outsourcing. So to sum it up, I would say invest in risk management, knowledge management, and in the area of technology with a focus on business process.
Thank you, Mayur. So the next question I'd like to put to you is around the term back office. Do you think that that term is still relevant today?
I think the term is slowly going out of context as back office, and I say that because several of what we used to call as the back office centers, say 3 to 5 years back in the shared service industry, today actually are emerging as almost front office locations. So we actually have people sitting in shared service locations who are today directly in touch with an end customer. It could be in the area of finance, it could be in the area of sales and marketing, it could be in the area of supply chain, but there are several sectors where you can see people who are sitting in these so-called back office locations who are directly in touch with customers. The other trend I'm also seeing from a shared services perspective in our offshore locations is that analytics is playing a very big role. So when you start doing analytics from a shared services location where we are providing business insights and business intelligence, I don't think the term back office is still extremely relevant today.
Okay, thank you. That's an interesting insight, and I'll be interested to see how the term continues to develop and be defined. I think that leads me into my next question, which is something that I'm very interested in, is around fostering a culture of continuous innovation rather than just continuous improvement. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think again, great question, Jackie. So I think the first thing is if a company wants to innovate, you can't skip the improvement step totally. You have to start improving your processes before you start innovating. So I think it's very important for people who are just starting on the shared services journey to realize that you cannot go from being a decentralized function to innovating in shared services directly. You have to first standardize your work into a location, start improving that work before you go the innovation route. But to really foster a sense of innovation in a company, I think a lot of it has to do with two aspects. The first is, I think, the leadership that the company has. So unless your leaders have the ability to take risk and encourage their employees to take risk in the form of innovation, I think a company can never really foster and embrace innovation. If you look at what Apple has done over the last several years, what their leader really did was he told them it's okay to fail, because to innovate you have to realize that you will fail along the way, and the leadership of the company really has to have an appetite for risk and to again tell employees it's okay if you fail, if you learn from your mistakes and move on. The second area I feel is really cultural, right? If you don't have a measurement for innovation, and I know that people think innovation is a very fuzzy subject where you can't put a measure on it, but if you don't have a measure for innovation, you'll end up in a situation where you've put in a lot of your investment dollars towards innovation and not seeing the right level of return on investment. So it's very, very important that to foster a culture of innovation, you have to start measuring innovation and have innovation as one of your core objectives. So to summarize it, I think first start improving your process, have the right level of leadership that encourages risk and encourages innovation, and then have the culture within the company to support innovation.
I couldn't agree more, and I think leadership is critical. And I think that leads me into my final question to you, Mayur, which is focusing on the leadership, the people, the talent. How important are HP's SSO talent? And in your opinion, what's the secret to attraction, retention, and upskilling?
Great question again, Jackie. So I think let's not forget that the core of any shared services industry or any services industry, it's always going to be about the people, right? Whether it's HP or whether it's any other company, I think if you are in a services business, people are really at the core of it. So from attraction perspective, I think you really need to think of the current generation and have a set of HR policies that is in line with the current generation. Social media today has such a big impact on employees, and that's another area where I don't see companies coming out with enough innovation within the organization in the area of social media to attract these employees. Gone are the days when you would have old models of having consultants come in and hire your people. Today the word about an organization spreads so fast on social media. I think companies need to have a strategy as to how will they build their brand from a social media perspective. So that's from an attraction perspective. From a retention perspective, I've seen some recent trends where the current generation is not interested in your average 40-hour week. They're really looking for flexible work policies. They're looking for companies that offer them sabbaticals every couple of years. So you work for a couple of years in an organization, you then take a sabbatical to do, pursue your passion, do something that's really your area of interest. So I think having flexible work policies is very important from a retention perspective. And finally, you have to focus on the development of the employees. Let's face it that some of the work in the area of shared services sometimes can get monotonous. So I think again it's about building a kind of culture that fosters innovation. You make it a fun environment, and you provide a continuous learning environment to the employees to really develop them on an ongoing basis. So I think it's very important that you take into account the current generation in the shared services industry, the fact that most of them are between the age group of 22 and 26, and then come out with a set of policies to attract, retain and develop them.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today, Mayur. Really interesting insights. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Jackie. Appreciate it from my side too. Thank you.